In this session, we're going to look at setting up Dreamweaver to enable us to do some website coding. First of all, what we're going to do is open up Dreamweaver. I'm using Dreamweaver CC, Creative Cloud. You may be using earlier versions, etc., but they're very, very similar in the way in which they operate. Once you open, close the welcome screen. And the first thing you actually need to do in Dreamweaver is actually define a site. Now, to define a site, you need to go up to Site and go to New Site. You need to select a folder where you would like your website to work from. So I'm going to open up the folder and go to my desktop. And the first thing I'm going to do in here is create a folder, and I'm going to call it Website. And in this folder is where my website's going to exist. From here, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to, at this point in time, just going to call it Website. And I'm not going to worry about version controls and servers, and click on Save. You notice that we've automatically created a new sitemap on the right hand side. You can also see down the bottom here that we have our document object model as well displayed. If we're working in CSS, we can actually get into the Css Designer. But we're mainly concerned about at the moment is the actual files. From the files, we can actually now create our very first page. So we can click on File and New, and we can select the type of file we would like to create. We can create a HTML, a CSS, a JavaScript. They're the main ones we'll be working with. Later on, we could be working with PHP, XML. But we're going to start with HTML. We're also going to start with a HTML5 document. There are other types of documents you can use, but we're mainly concerned with HTML5. You can put your title in here now, but we'll do that a little later in the code itself. And we're going to click on Create. And this creates a HTML document for us. Sometimes when you start, you'll be in the design view. You can look at the code, but most people, when using Dreamweaver, will use a split view when they first start. Now, if your layout's not looking like this, you can always click on Window and go to the Layout section under Workspace and click Default and click Reset if it's not all at normal. So this is the default setting. So sometimes when you create a new HTML document, this is what you'll see. I like to use a split view, but I also like to have my code on the left and the design view on the right, not a horizontal split. So under View, we can change it to go split vertically, and now we have a vertical split. But the problem is my code's on the right, and I like my code on the left, so I go under View, and then I put that on the left. So this is my preferred method. Using the split view allows you to use Dreamweaver's rapid development tool. What this means, I can click in the design side and use it much the same as you would a word processor. So I can put in your www.lmarsden.com and it automatically writes the information for me in the code. Otherwise, I can work in the code and I can actually put in here Leon Marsden. And when I click back in the design view, it'll actually update here as well. So you can easily switch between both views. And if I want to just code, I can click on code, or if I just want to lay some information out first of all, I can type it straight in through the design view and then edit the code later. But using the split view is very useful when developing your website. Some of the other things you need to do when you're creating your website is when we go to save it, go File, Save As, you need to give the file a name. So I've called my first one index.html because it's going to be my first one. And when I click on Save, besides the Replace, it'll actually save it into the site folder that we created earlier when we defined the site under Sites. Also, you may need to create new folders. The folders that I suggest you create, if you right mouse click the site, you can actually add a new folder. Some of the ones you need to create are assets, and in here we could actually place a new folder as well, and we could actually put PNG, so you can store your PNG files in there. If you've got JPEG files as well, or if you just want to have documents and things like that, you could actually have documents, etc. Whatever you need to store, wherever you need to store them, you can actually create in assets. And another one that you need is a CSS for your cascading style sheet. Some people have a file for templates, if there's a standard template for the website. So you can create folders as you go along. What this actually does for you is when you select your desktop and you go into the folder that we defined earlier, you can see that they're automatically here. So when I double click the index file, it opens up a browser for me and displays the web page. So that's just a basic introduction on how to set up Dreamweaver to build your very first website.